work up against him. Here to start things off over on Romanticide, representing Storm Gaming in the bottom right as the red toss. It is MaxPax.
And that, of course, means that in the top left side of Romanticide, we're looking at the main base of the reigning, defending, back-to-back European champion. It is Clem.
Whoa. So, to start things off here, MaxPax once again going for that very early probe scout to just make sure the barracks is at home, but maybe most annoyingly, start attacking some SCVs. How do you feel about this one, Kev?
It's a blast from the past, as Pick would say. Just reminds me of the glory days of Huck. Send a probe over to the other side of the map, start chipping away at SCVs. I think it is kind of nice because it does play into his image a little bit. Obviously, every Terran is worried about MaxPax and his Void Race. They all know how good he is with it. Now, this would be almost too soon, but you just know that this kid has a lot of wild openings up his sleeve, and when you see a probe that early in your main base, it's A, annoying, and B, could throw you off a little bit. Because I don't know if you agree, but if I see a very early worker in my base, I'm like, whoa, why is it there?
Certainly. And also, like, it was SOS that kind of brought this back a little bit during that GSL Super Tournament run where he just kind of, just did the weirdest stuff to Terrans. And that was one of the ways he opened as well. And it is so irritating, so annoying. But it's also so nice for a Protoss to be able to just confirm that they're not up against any sort of shenanigans with the barracks being weirdly placed. And sometimes you can catch the SCV really early on the way to your base as well, where it's wanting to engineering bay block or, getting a proxy racks down anywhere. It's just, I think it's actually very, very decent.
Clem opening up with a Marine into a reactor. And he's still scouting with his SCV. For a split second, I was like, are we planning on building a starport anywhere, Clem? But I don't think that is necessarily the case, even though that SCV is still on a little bit of a journey, and it could still build a starport above the natural of MaxPax.
I think it's probably going to, Kev. Like, this map, a lot of openings do revolve around a starport over here, because it's one of those maps where you can get beside that natural base of your opponent without being spotted, and then drop into a real weird location. So I do like the opening. It might be a little bit predictable, but here, MaxPax is getting the shade across the map, the Adept being able to spot what he's up against, and gets to see the factory here with the reactor.
Yep, and MaxPax is getting a Twilight Council and a robotics facility at home. We saw him open up with, he's sending out a probe as well, looking for that starport, but that probe still needs to go a bit towards the right, because on its current path, it's not necessarily going to see it. But if he moves it a little bit further towards the right, he goes for a Dark Shrine, by the way. Oh, MaxPax will see the starport. That's a pretty big scout. But I have to say that his opening is not necessarily great against the Hellion drop, but at least knowing that it's there is going to help him an insane amount.
It's definitely part of the battle, isn't it? In any case, going for the Dark Shrine on this map in particular, like, this is a very good 4-gate Blink Stalker map, or it's a good Stalker map in general. So the fact that he's not going for that, which is kind of the obvious choice, it might throw Clem off a little bit as to what he's actually facing with this.
Yep, Clem is going to see that there is a full wall of in the natural. He's going to see that the robotics facility is being chrono boosted as well. Now, dropping your Hellions here on top of two, that Warp Prism. Do you think? Well, Clem is at least going to see the Dark Shrine. That's going to help Clem. He's already building an eBay. These Hellions could absolutely still kill quite a few probes. The first 4 have already gone down, and that's going to be a bit more as these 3 Hellions are still going strong. Clem looking for one more shot as even the medevac is firing. 7 workers is pretty decent, especially when you also scout that there is a Dark Shrine.
I think that's the big deal, yeah, Kev. Like, he's seen the Dark Shrine, he got damage done. What's actually at Clem's base, though? Just a bunker. He has a little bit of supply blocked here. He does have a depot on the way, but seeing that first blur. But the Warp Prism! The Warp Prism died with a DT in the main base. That was a terrible mistake for Clem, or for MaxPax even.
Yeah, MaxPax obviously busy controlling his Dark Templar in the natural, and at the same time still dealing with the medevac at home. This is an absolutely disastrous start for MaxPax as he loses the second Dark Templar too. He's even going to lose that scouting probe on the bottom side. When it rains, it pours. And at this point, it's pouring.
That was definitely one of those moments where that DT, I swear it ran out of the scan, Kev, but it still had that last missile from the Cyclone, managed to get it down somehow. Behind all this, Clem, he's going for his third barracks. He does try and deal some damage with his Hellions. Oh, the Adepts, they're on like move command or something away.
Oh my god, the second Prism gets picked off. 2 more Hellions show up in the main base. This game could very well just end here, man. Because MaxPax, all that he really has is a single shield battery. And as long as Clem doesn't lose too many units near that battery. All right. That's War Prism number 3, by the way, in a 6-minute game.
That is not what you want as MaxPax, man. And I mean, oh, Clem, Clem's playing well, like really damn well, but it's got to be said, MaxPax looking a little bit flustered.
Yep, it seems like we are just going to get ready for Blink. That battery definitely keeping MaxPax alive there. Clem could have maybe tried to be super annoying and drain it a bit more, but Clem instead is going to be happy with the damage he's dealt so far. He's going to throw down his scan here so he can get another double lock-on. Does not get a kill. Good micro there by MaxPax, breaking those lock-ons. And he's chasing all these Marines down. The Cyclones are in a bit of trouble. One Stalker does go down. There is a tank here, though, and that's going to push these Stalkers away.
Yeah, the thing is, this is all well and good for MaxPax pushing Clem back across the map, but he's actually behind in probes. I know it's only 1, but that is not where you want to be. He's starting up his third real late too. He's getting Blink. He's getting Colossus Tech with the Robo Bay. He needs to do something to slow Clem down, to get him away and keep him away. But Clem, he's the kind of Terran that he's just not going to think about that and not let that happen. He's going to be in his face as soon as he gets the opportunity.
There is no turret in the main base, though. So this one Dark Templar definitely has a bit of potential. So a bit stubborn by Clem that there is no turret in the main. Now the other end, Clem is like, I've already killed 2 prisms, mate. How many prisms do you really want to make? MaxPax is like, well, at least 3. I don't know if we're going to get prism number 4 or not. As that prism goes down, this DT also goes down way outside of the scan range. And this time Clem is like, well, you're clearly a pretty stubborn fella, so I will build a turret in the main. And even though MaxPax has a 3 worker lead, it's a pretty disastrous game for him. There's a drop happening in the main base too. These Marines could stim, these Marines will stim. The Stalkers are nowhere inside. And this is a very frustrating and painful game for MaxPax so far.
Absolutely, 10 probes falling to this drop. And even if this drop killed 0, MaxPax would have still been in a desperate situation. MaxPax starts up charge after Blink. He still has that DT knocking about in that natural, but that's an army that isn't going to get stopped anytime soon by what MaxPax has. That being said, second Colossus is along the way.
Yeah, but it is backed up by a bunch of gateway units that have 0 upgrades from Fortress. MaxPax is going to fire up +1. He is going to move out with a couple Stalkers too, just to buy himself a little bit of time. Can he get a Cyclone? Yes, he can. Clem is a merciful god. If Clem is really if he really wants to show off, he could have picked up the Cyclone. Seems like the medevac did get picked up in the main base, but a couple of Marines still have some potential here. There are a few Zealots that don't have charge yet, and there is nothing sadder than slow Zealots. At the same time, Clem just bomb rushes up this natural and secures himself the 1-0 lead. Turns out if you kill 3 prisms in a 6-minute game, things are pretty good for you, man.
Pretty damn good. Like one of those prisms with a DT in initially to start things off as well. I mean, MaxPax obviously wasn't looking at that prism when that happened, and it flew over a Cyclone and a handful of Marines as well. Just brutal start. Like MaxPax never got going in that series or in that game, whereas Clem just on fire straight away. He got his Hellions, or rather got the medevac scouted, at least the starport. Was like, oh, okay, I can still get damage done, right? Went up against the Dark Shrine, scouted as well, getting the damage done, the 7 probes, and yeah, just very, very good play by Clem to start things off. And I know a lot of people can be like, his TVP looks shaky and his TVT can look shaky, but when Clem's on and things are aligning, he's so damn quick, man.
Clem is so good in getting maximum value out of units when the Protoss has a lot of builds that are very sharp, and then you don't have a lot of units defensively, but that's okay because you don't really want to deal with stuff defensively. You want to be aggressive, you want to get further ahead economically. And if you only have like 2 Adepts and a Stalker to deal with a couple of Hellions and a medevac, well, you bet that Clem is going to keep these Hellions alive for quite some time, that he's going to outrun them, outmaneuver them, and then get the shots off. Because if you obviously just aim move or you get trapped, yeah, then Adepts, if they are in range, they are good against Hellions. But the downside of Adepts is, of course, that they are a lot slower, and Clem will always take full advantage of that. I think that's the kind of game where you can really see that Clem is incredibly good, where with even very little, you give him a little to work with, he will find a way to get value.
Give him a finger, takes your whole bloody arm off, mate. Both arms, in fact, from that one little finger. But yeah, Clem, you can really see it, right? Like that speed that makes him so good at TVZ. Sometimes in TVP, he really utilizes that speed and pulls his opponent apart. And the little micro moves, he is, I think, without shadow of doubt, the best with like Hellions and a medevac at just making things happen and just keeping the Hellions going, you know? But speaking of spawning over in the bottom right, second map, it is Blackburn. And here we have Liquid Clem.
Liquid Clem. In the bottom left side of Blackburn, we're looking at the main base of the Danish Protoss. He is already the very first European Protoss to ever make it into the top 4 of one of these events. But can he go even further? It is MaxPax.
I'm a curious man here, Kev. I see Clem going for a gas first opening here against MaxPax. Now, we saw, it was MaxPax against Marine Lord earlier, correct? Yes, it was. Sorry, I don't know why I'm talking to myself like that, but yeah.
It's okay, Ben. You can keep going. Like, I'll listen. I always enjoy your commentary, so I can just listen as well.
Oh, thank you, mate. We did see, I can't remember what opening Marine Lord did on this map exactly. Or even if they played this.
He moved out, yes, he moved out the Marines. He tried to go for the Cloak Banshee, but it got scouted by the Adept, and then he moved out all the Marines to the other side of the map, and they got caught.
Thank you for reminding me. I know I've seen a few gas first openings on this map in particular in this matchup, which I do find a little unusual. And Clem goes for the wall off at the top of his ramp as well. Now, he is making a factory a lot earlier than MaxPax would expect. Interesting opening.
Yeah, this is very interesting. Like, if this was proxied, I'd be like, oh, I think I know where this is going. But since everything is at home, it kind of makes you wonder, what is the plan here? Is there a chance that it's going to be... I actually don't know where Clem is going to go with this.
Me neither, Kev, because this is a second gas as well. I imagine it's going to be like really hardcore drop play with Widow Mines and stuff, and maybe an armory, because there's no reason to get that second gas unless you do that. But his money's getting high here as well. Oh, Hellions, huh?
That's what I was thinking of, but then I see the reactor on the barracks, and I'm like, maybe not. What is it going to be? What could possibly get out of the starport? All right, what about a battle cruiser?
I mean, you're really reaching here, Kev. I mean, it's going to be a medevac, right? But
yeah, of course, at first. But what are we going to do with all this gas? He's mining so much gas.
Mate, I have
what
no
if he
idea.
goes Thor's? What if could it be a Thor follow-up?
Oh, so you know what I'm thinking, Kev? I'm thinking he knows how MaxPax makes his base, and maybe doing a drop with a lot of Marines might really mess up that location in the back there where MaxPax is walled off.
Okay, I mean, this is obviously going to give
MaxPax is thinking that too, though. Like, he thinks that this is a potential weakness here, so that is really smart by MaxPax.
He wants to make sure that the Stargate and the gateway is not going to be unpowered. Clem is going to just drive the Hellions to the other side of the map, and then he's going to drop the Marines in the main base. What are going to be the add-ons? It's Tech Lab. Cool. So we'll see where Clem actually goes with this afterwards. MaxPax opening up with a Phoenix here after having that Von Oracle. The Oracle was thinking of going to the other side of the map, but MaxPax changes his mind. And he's like, nope, I need this defensively because I really don't have a lot of units. A Stalker and an Oracle with a battery, and now a couple of probes being pulled too. Phoenix can get on top of the medevac too. Hellions in the natural, though, definitely have some potential.
Not just some, like quite a bit. Like the Adept, it's slow, man, super slow. With these Hellions getting quite a lot of damage done already. Behind this, the Oracle actually out of energy, and oh my goodness, that is a lot of probes right for the picking. Does that shield battery? It's not even in range for a shield battery overcharge here to help out.
Nope. I mean, I do think MaxPax will clean this up, but the question is, how many workers is he going to lose? So far, the answer to the question is 17. Make that 19. Hellion trying to get one more shot off, gets a double kill. As these Marines are still going strong too, my goodness. No, move your Stalker a little bit to the battery. Okay, it barely lives. Second Phoenix is finally out. But MaxPax is down 8 or 9 workers in the command center. at home is finishing up for Clem. And yeah, Clem could even just rally these units to the other side of the map too, because he knows that MaxPax is going to be very busy rebuilding all the workers he just lost. This could be very, very bad for our young Danish brothers.
Yeah, I mean, I look at that and I'm like, oh, there's nothing that can shoot up, but there's not much that can shoot down, at least for not for long. And MaxPax loses Stalker here and sees this army moving across and has to run back home. And Clem, very well played so far in this series.
Clem is bullying a little bit.
He is. He really is.
This is not very nice. Protoss players just want to sit at home, build a couple probes, and get a bunch of gateways going, Ben. You don't want to deal with losing this amount of probes early on into the game. Clem is still just building Vikings and Hellions. It's kind of funny that he got a tech lab on his starport. I guess just in case there could have been DTs or something, but he hasn't really done anything with that tech lab. And what he has been doing is just rallying everything to the other side of the map, and MaxPax's army is just kind of bad against Clem's army. We do have a couple of Phoenixes. Pulsar Beam has been activated, but nice target fire on that Oracle. And I think this is kind of going to do it, man. The tank is not even participating in the fight, but it doesn't matter. Just like that, Clem takes a 2-0 lead in what feels like 12 minutes or so.
I mean, it looks brutal, hasn't it? Like this is a young Frenchman really bullying a young Danishman, and MaxPax is really damn good. But the fact that Clem's able to do this to MaxPax, like that was a weird opening. Just yeah, I mean, it all worked out for him, right? Like the Hellions did so much damage at the natural, then they got joined by the Marines in the main. The shield battery, even though it was kind of close to where he thought he was vulnerable, it also was too far to get overcharged. And what a weird ass build from Clem, but holy crap, did that work out super well.
What do you think happens if MaxPax, instead of an Oracle first, just cranks out Phoenixes, and he would have 3 Phoenixes by the time that all the units have truly unloaded?
Might be great. Might be great. You could also say, like, it's so tough. It's so tough because how many gateway units can you technically have out against that kind of thing? Like maybe 3, 4 at a push?
I think number 4, by the time that warp gate finishes up, like you have 3 units out of your regular gate, and then you can have number 4 when warp gate is done. It's just that, like, the Oracle is great in theory, but Clem is obviously a world-class player, so the moment he sees that Pulsar Beam is being activated, he picks up all the Marines, and then he waits until you either cancel Pulsar Beam, then he drops again, or you just let it run out. But that still happens rather quickly this early into the game, because Oracles don't spawn with that much energy. And then at Oracle, it almost felt like dead weight.
The Oracle, yeah, I mean, didn't get anything done, did it? Like, so let's say like 4 gateway units, maybe 2 or 3 Phoenix.
Instead of Oracle into Phoenix, I actually think either option is better. Double Oracle. I actually think that could really make the difference, because Clem obviously doesn't have that many units. So by the time that your first Oracle is out of energy and Pulsar Beam, has been drained, you can have a second Oracle. You can activate Pulsar Beam again, and then Clem is kind of forced to fight it. And if it's then still near the shield battery, I think you're going to be okay. I think either multiple Phoenix or multiple Oracles is good. But I think Oracle into Phoenix is the one thing that doesn't work quite well in the defense there.
Yeah, I mean, that one Phoenix, it's like, what do you do? Do you lift up a single Hellion or a single Marine, or do you just chase that medevac? Like, either one is just feels like the wrong option, right? Like, you know as well as anybody, Phoenix are not solo units. You know, they're team players, absolutely. But I think that build by Clem, like not seeing what you're up against, it also is like, all right, so I got to this wall. I kind of want an Oracle just in case it is something super tough situation for MaxPax. And 2K Atmosphere will be the next map. We're just giving Clem a moment here. Did want a little bit of a bathroom break, but oh wow, he's bloody fast, man. He is back in here, and we're starting up our third map, which will be 2K Atmosphere.
I also wonder what happens if MaxPax does just rally his Oracle to the other side of the map, because it's not like Clem had anything in his main base, and Clem's opening is also not super economic. So if you just send that Oracle into the Terran main and you move it there on a bunch of STVs, even if you lose 17 pros, but you're on 2 bases, but you kill 8 STVs against a 1-base Terran, then it actually starts looking a little bit better too. And then of course there is a chance you lose even more at home. Whatever it was, it did not work out for our young Dane, but it's absolutely been working out so far for this man. He's off flying today in the lower bracket. Took out Raynor 3-2 to secure his ticket to the season finals. And he's now up 2-0 and potentially ready to break into the top 3 once more. Representing Team Liquid, it is Clem.
And playing as the Red Protoss, representing Storm Gaming, it is MaxPax. Clem here with a very early scout, but might just be one of those Engineering Bay block builds. He is also opting for a gas first, which that was kind of how the Engineering Bay block build did start off in the first place. MaxPax again with the exceedingly early probe, just being a real nuisance, is he?
I don't know if I'm a fan or not. Like, it's obviously nice when you have an SCV chasing you, but you send out the probe so early that it definitely does take away a bit of your own Protoss economy. And by the time that it makes it to the other side of the map, it's like, okay, now Clem is also losing a bit of mining time, but you invested in this before Clem did. And Clem actually has quite a bit of HP, man, on this eBay, and he's even going to start building a second eBay. MaxPax, at this point, I would give up trying to secure the natural, and I would just expand elsewhere.
I think so. I think you're right, Kev, because that... Okay, so now he's got 6 probes not mining. The 5 here, along with the other one. Like, this income graphic's going to go real bad for him and has to make a Zealot as well. By golly.
I can also understand a bit of fear maybe on MaxPax's side with the way that Clem has been playing, and it's been obviously a pretty disastrous best of 5 on his side. That he's like, the last thing I want to do now is build my Nexus at a place where I don't normally build it, as that probe really wants the SCV kill, but it doesn't get it. The SCV survives with 1 HP. But yeah, maybe MaxPax is a bit afraid. Man, these probes still long distance mining now too. That if he takes his Nexus elsewhere, it's going to be another game where he loses 10 or 11 probes early on, and it becomes unplayable. So I can sort of get it, Ben, but this was also not a pretty start.
No, it wasn't. Like, this Zealot going across the map could maybe delay the CC, but it's also one of those situations where it's like, it's going to be kind of forfeited a little bit, but at least it's going to be scouting information.
Yeah, but actually with the Stalker follow-up, actually Clem is going to have kind of a hard time dealing with the Stalker. Like, the Zealot, you can out-micro that, especially once the Marine count is 3, but without a bunker on the low ground, that Stalker is going to be a nightmare, and MaxPax is going to reinforce this with not 1, but 2 adepts. You know, at first we were like, oh, it's a bad start for MaxPax, but Clem building this DC on the low ground, this is a cancel. Unless the Cyclone helps you, keeping it safe, but... Ooh, it's gonna...
Yeah, I'm not sure it's a cancel, Kev. Like, the Cyclone is super safe. I mean, the Zealot will fall here. It's obviously going to cost a few SCVs to get this up. And in fact, I wouldn't pull anything. I'd let him damage it, because that Cyclone's out real damn soon. Like, this is a big, big hit to Clem's economy.
Yep. Well, it may not be a cancel, but it's definitely a favorable trade for MaxPax. Now, you don't really want to lose your Stalker. Cyclone will lock on the Stalker immediately. MaxPax, I actually like that by MaxPax, that what he did. A lot of people, they just like to run away their Stalker immediately, but you can't save it there. It's gonna die. So then you may as well turn around and get 1 more shot off. And it actually allowed him to just get 1 more kill there on the Marine.
All right. After all things said and done, we do see that Clem has been mining quite a bit more than his opponent. And it's a slow warping. That is so sad for that Stalker.
Yep. And lock-on, actually, the cooldown is not that long. Lock-on is almost ready. At least the battery is here to save it. My goodness, that would have been a disaster. If there's no battery there, then the tables would have been turned. Even now, it's going to be a bit annoying. Really nice movement here by Clem. An overcharge is going to be forced. You don't really want to use an overcharge in this phase in the game, but it's all right. At least it keeps the Stalker safe. MaxPax does definitely need another unit, and he's warping in 1 now on the high ground.
What a dicey start, though, right? Like...
Oh,
and now
it's Cyclone.
Oh, this is a good push. It's the build that I like to play with on the ladder, and you can get a lot of cheeky wins. Oh, he locks on, but this is the low health Cyclone.
Nice. That's nice actually for MaxPax. I would really like to see him at least stabilize here. He does end up losing a Stalker. He's probably going to lose that pylon too, and that's going to unpower the gateway. Another Stalker is going down. Clem is just rallying everything to the other side of the map. He does lose high ground vision here, and MaxPax still has a lot of HP on one Stalker. My goodness, this is actually getting quite dicey, but he has a backup battery in the main.
Oh.
Unfortunately, it cannot save the top Stalker, but he will kill this Cyclone. Right? Really? Or not?
No, Kevin. Clem, he's almost styling at this point. These scans, like...
Yeah, that's a lot of scans.
Yeah,
Oh my god, there's a
totally...
tank!
Well, this goes from bad to worse, doesn't it?
I mean, there is going to be another overcharge right about now, so MaxPax uses it immediately, and he actually gets a lot of damage on the tank. That was a good overcharge. It may seem a bit silly with only 2 Stalkers, but he really couldn't afford to lose a Stalker. I really like that choice by MaxPax, and now he's buying enough time for Blink. Turns around with the Stalker, gets the kill on the Cyclone, and now it's Clem who's in an awkward spot, because Blink is going to finish up, and that means this tank ain't making it home safely.
No, it certainly isn't, and maybe the Marines aren't either. I mean, all these Stalkers are getting so battered and bruised. Oh, okay, that was a bit unnecessary with the other Stalkers.
That was a 6-minute skirmish almost. It started off with an eBay block, and then it was a little bit of a tug of war. Zealots and depth stalks to the other side of the map. And then Clem is like, well, anything you can do, I can do too. The one downside for MaxPax is that Clem was working on Stim. I'm actually really impressed with how good Clem's micro was there. Well, apparently at home, not really missing too many beats at all.
I mean, Clem's really good, man. He's an all-round player these days. He really is. Just his aggression, his micro,
no.
it's almost second to none.
I'm actually very worried that MaxPax is going to blink into the main base, thinking there is no way in hell that after this start, after all that fighting, after the Cyclones and tank, you're going to have Stim. But Stim is done. If he blinks into the main, he is in so much trouble. He's got an Immortal too. He's going to rally the Immortal on top of the tank. He does blink into the natural. Clem has a couple of Marines here, but most of the buy units are in the main. MaxPax, I do not think that in any world he's expecting Clem to have as many units and as much firepower as Clem actually has.
No, and Clem even feeling like, oh, is it potentially DTs here with a turret at the front? Could be for observers, I guess, as well, but... Oh, Clem has so much, dude.
Oh. Look at this movement
Clem,
of the prism. Yeah,
Clem hasn't stimmed yet either. He hasn't, like, let him know that he has it.
No. Obviously, the more time that goes by, the more that MaxPax starts thinking about, like, he could very well have Clem. The Marauders are going to stim, though. But MaxPax is paying attention, does not lose a single Stalker. I wonder if Clem saw that observer. I feel like he kind of did. And then he also realized that, yeah, okay, he definitely knows about the ops, right?
I think so. I mean, he should. I mean, unless it's the luckiest obs of all time. By the way, MaxPax has been supply blocked here for a good 10, 15 seconds and only just realized too.
And this is really hard because now you have the micro stalkers on 2 sides. So far, so good. Gets one Marauder. Really wants a second one, but Clem with the hot pickup. Of course, Clem with the hot pickup.
Of course, and Clem moving across the map with a very scary army here. It's 2 tanks. It's nice save with the shield battery there on that Stalker. But this is a very scary Terran army.
Yeah, there is one Immortal. If that Immortal can get in range of the tank, then obviously the tank would fall quickly. Like that overcharge by MaxPax, because that allows this Colossus to actually tank quite a few shots. The War Prism is active on the other side of the map. I mean, not the prettiest cleanup, but it is a cleanup. A couple of Zealots could maybe cancel this CC. But Clem actually sees the Prism immediately. He's going to unload these buy units. Man, I'm actually amazed with how good of a position Clem got himself in. While it felt that it was a awkward start for him too, he just did not miss a beat at all. It's really impressive stuff what Clem is showing here.
All things said and done though, MaxPax, it's the best game that's been for him so far. I say that as a Warp Prism dies, but just shows you how one-sided the other games were, right?
No, the other games were over at this point. This game is not over. MaxPax could absolutely stabilize, but being up only 3 workers, careful chasing up a high ground is so risky. And at this point, it does feel that Clem has a lot of potential because the medevac count is at 4 already. MaxPax does know about this double drop though, and he sent units to his main base in time. Widowmine is gonna try to connect with a Stalker, and it does.
I mean, these trades, like Clem's just trading so well here. Resources lost tab is still in MaxPax's favor, which is kind of funny, but he has been mining more throughout the game.
Yep, another overcharge. Yeah, that's like the 4th overcharge we've seen this game. That's actually kind of funny. The Widowmine kind is really going up, and you can't really fight these armies with all these mines. A little bit of friendly fire there on one without your Colossus, but the Colossus also can't be everywhere at once. And I find it absolutely insane that MaxPax just queues up a Disruptor immediately the moment he's got 3 Colossus. I actually feel that this is a game where maybe an observer above your main base somewhere at that base at 9 o'clock would be awesome. But he just loves getting a quick access into Disruptors.
Yeah, he's also halted pro production for quite some time. Obviously, he's been under quite a bit of pressure here. Oh, that Zealot run by is spotted by Clem, but you'd rather spot it there than in your base.
Colossi get a couple of shots of Disrupt. This shot does not connect at all. The Immortal is actually going to take a lot of damage from the Widow Mines. Clem gets on top of that first Disrupted, takes it out. Bio units are a bit low, though. They've already stimmed a couple of times. Zealots have made it into the natural, and I don't know if they find a whole lot of success, but they're finding something.
I actually think this last series of engagements was totally fine for MaxPax. There are a couple of probes falling, and that is the saddest medevac ever. But, Widowmine drops. Okay, I was wondering, is there something else going on? Because that run into the main and natural just seemed crazy.
Yep. I mean, Clem did pick up the Disruptor. It's a pretty expensive unit.
Pretty expensive, Kev. Pretty expensive. I mean, slowing down the Disruptor count is obviously
not
a really big deal.
expensive enough for what it can do, Benjamin, but it's a nice little pickup.
Yeah, it certainly is. Blink DT's on the way. That is cool by MaxPax, and we're seeing what he can do with it as well. Clem, not really trying to let MaxPax breathe. Does have an army situated outside the main and outside this 4th base that MaxPax is trying to establish.
I feel like MaxPax is just so blind, but he is going to get some vision, taking control of the Zelnaga Watchtower on the top side. And that's actually so nice, because now he at least knows that these units are here. Maybe the Dark Templars. I mean, I know there is a turret, but 3 DTs can definitely take care of a turret in no time. MaxPax does have some potentials. The Disruptor count is back up to 3 even. He's got 2 on the right side. He's got 1 here. He knows that his army is coming. Fires a Nova. Good connection there. And this is right before the Dark Templars are looking for some magic. MaxPax also avoiding these Widow Mines, or at least to some degree.
Oh, the DTs were actually thwarted by that missile turret that he made earlier, but maybe Clem didn't notice that his army attacked those DTs? Well, who knows?
The one is a bit short. MaxPax derping a little bit here, trying to clean up these mines. And he just refuses to build a second observer. I find... Oh, wait, he does have a second ops. All right, it just popped. Okay, there it is. I feel like vision is everything, especially when you play against a drop-happy Terran like Clem. It would be so nice to just have some more eyes on the map, because this 1-ops is actually still going strong, and it's definitely giving him a nice little heads up of certain move outs. It'd just be lovely for him to have a little more vision than what he currently has.
Yeah, even though even though MaxPax is on 4 bases here, his work account's still not that good at all. Like, he's only now probing up, being at 59, relying on a very kind of, I don't want to say a low-tech army, because it does have Colossus and Disruptor, but it's just so many Stalkers in the mix.
Also have a lot of DTs now ready to maybe potentially pounce on this planetary fortress. And ideally for MaxPax, all of that happens while Clem is busy trying to out-micro disrupt this. Clem definitely has a good army. The Viking count is nice, but maybe the Disruptors can help zone out the rest of the Terran army. SCVs are going down to those Dark Templars on the top side, but that was not a planetary yet, so Clem can just lift up.
So 4th base is killed for MaxPax here. Clem has to lift his own, and even though Clem has an upgrade advantage, MaxPax is handling his army very well. Oh gosh, that Disruptor.
It feels that MaxPax really looking for one big Nova. He's got a lot of money in the bank. Fires another Nova. He's been losing a lot of pylons. He's honestly been a bit low on supply for a while. We do have a battery overcharge if necessary, as the DTs have been cleaned up on the top side. MaxPax now building 3 pylons, but still sitting at 1500 minerals. Can't expand on the left side there because there's still a Widow Mine potentially blocking this Nexus from going down. Nice little touch here by Clem. Very annoying for MaxPax to deal with.
I mean, Clem's playing really well. MaxPax needs to spend his money, though. Like, if he spent his money, maybe it'd be looking quite good for him, actually, because that would be 17 extra Zealots, and wow, 8 Stalkers all warped in at once, and he catches up in supply.
And what's the Viking count there? I feel like he's done a pretty damn impressive job keeping these Colossus alive, man, because Clem's Vikings have been around for a while. They have been looking for pickups, have really been impressed by the army control of the young Protoss, especially because this has been such a frustrating series for him. Economically, it's turning into a disaster. Another Widow Mine shot there. Could just blow it up with a Disruptor if he wants to. That is exactly what he does.
That Colossi almost died to it, to that Widow Mine. That would have been rather brutal on a kind of a brutal series already.
Anyhow, MaxPax has a chance, you know, with 1 or 2 great Novas. He's working on +3. The fact that he's got no armor or shield upgrades is obviously a bit terrifying. But what he does still have is an army that could absolutely win a fight. And he does still have the potential to deal a lot of economic damage with Blink DTs.
Certainly does. An engagement's going off on the right side here as the DTs are moving in, and a Disruptor. Massive hit. That's exactly what MaxPax was looking for.
Yeah, he did lose 2 out of 3 Colossus. Could maybe kill all the Vikings here before losing the final one, and he does. That's honestly very nice. While these Dark Templars, some of them did manage to escape. Clem still mining more economically, but this was a phenomenal fight for MaxPax. 2 more Vikings. Unfortunately for MaxPax, the last Colossus does go down. But this Stalker Disruptor ball is actually getting quite big.
This reminds me of when Protoss was first discovered Stalker Disruptor, and it was like in every matchup for a little bit of time, but it's very problematic if microed well. And MaxPax, for maybe the first time, is looking like he might have taken a lead here in the series.
Yeah, I'm definitely I don't want to get too carried away as he's still down economically, but he's been handling the fights impressively. Clem is gonna queue up 5 Marauders at a time though. But I like that MaxPax, as soon as he picked up all the Vikings, immediately queued up a Colossus. Because having 1 or 2 Colossi here would be very nice. Clem needs to make damn sure that he doesn't eat another big Purification Nova to the face. Clem knows that the army of MaxPax... MaxPax blowing up his own units there, running into his own Nova. That's a bit painful.
Yeah, I want Clem... that you could tell that was some panic Novas going off there. Wow, how did Clem manage to do all this?
8 Marines at the bottom. At the same time, he's keeping his planetary fortress safe. Nice pick up there by MaxPax. Clem is going to run into the natural where there is a Colossus battery overcharge. Won't save that one. Clem, you cannot pick up Disruptors in range of battery overcharge. That would have been a little bit dreamy. MaxPax has an army supply lead. He's got +3. DTs are now slicing up some units in the natural of Clem. He's going to blink it of the army. Clem is going to run towards his turret, and that's going to keep them safe.
I don't know how I feel about the aggressive blink in there.
MaxPax blink.
Oh! Picked off a DT and a Stalker of his own there with that Disruptor, but Clem managing to get out of a terrible situation there, I feel.
Actually, really sad for MaxPax that he killed 2 out of 4 medevacs, and those were the empty ones, while he was absolutely in range of the full ones still. Clem is starting to make some more magic happen. MaxPax did leave units behind in his main base for a drop of Clem, potentially. And it's still 4 bases against... Well, 4 bases again. As MaxPax has re-established that base in the bottom. Could win this fight here. There aren't too many Widow Mines left. The Disruptors are obviously very scary to go up against. Dark Templars are looking for another drive-by, fly-by, swipe-by perhaps, because they are DTs in the natural.
Or a blink-by even, you know? Who knows? But Clem and MaxPax are dancing here on this right side. MaxPax kind of... Oh! That drop in the main is absolutely stopped in these DTs. They finally bust through into the natural here. This could be the opening that MaxPax was looking for. Disruptors are connecting.
He's doing pretty decent on the right side too. The Orbital is taking a lot of damage. These medevacs are in a bit of danger. Can MaxPax blink forward? Maybe he could have, but he can also just go towards the other Orbital on the low ground. That's still in a bit of danger too. Clem does get the cleanup on all these DTs. MaxPax will blink forward, takes out that turret immediately. Do we still have Disruptors? Yes, they are. Can we get some Novas going? Is this the start of a MaxPax victory potentially? It's definitely starting to look like it, but Clem still has an army to work with.
He certainly does. MaxPax relying on no armor upgrades, but that is a scary Terran army. Is he out of Disruptor shots here? 0 armor on these Protoss units, and the MaxPax army just melting. I can't believe he's fighting. He does call home a few Disruptors here, but a few are left stranding, and wow, Clem. I don't know how he got out of that terrible situation, but he still has a hill to climb here. It's not over.
Nope. Oh, Colossus needs to be protected here at all costs. EMP missed. That's a lot of goals, by the way, all of a sudden. One of them was even moonwalking. I think MaxPax with just a couple zealots here can honestly make some magic happen. You don't want to lose your Colossus. Nice EMP by Clem. Oh my goodness, MaxPax is going to lose this base. He is going to lose all these probes. I think he got a bit too trigger happy with his disruptors in the top side. And he thought that he saw all the units off Clem, but Clem had a few more units flanking, and that allowed Clem to eventually win this fight. This game is getting awfully close. Clem doesn't have +3 armor either, but at least he has +2. Nova gets a good connection, but does still lose the Nexus.
Oh my god, I feel that connection could have been even better, you know? There was like 7, 8 ghosts in that mix there, and he just went a little bit south. That being said, this game is crazy. We're 20 minutes in, 80 supply against 90, 36 probes against 29 SCVs. MaxPax taking his 4th for what seems like the 6th time this game. Jeez Louise.
He's got still 13 Stalkers out on the map. He's got 2 Disruptors. That Nova indeed, Ben, it was good. It could have been even better. I kind of like this one little DT running into the main base just to create some chaos. As we also have a Dark Templar getting EMP'd by the Ghost on the left side. Nice forward blink though. That's 1 Dark Templar for 2 goals. That's the kind of stuff that MaxPax needs. Does he know about that base? He knows about it, but it's a planetary and that's kind of hard to kill.
It certainly is. DT is trying to go into the natural again, and MaxPax, like his signature unit, has been a DT so far, but 2 disruptors to keep this Terran army at bay, and that's it. He's out of juice now.
He does have a couple of Zealots here, but this is a lot of Clem, and MaxPax needs to run. He's got a couple of Dark Templars that are going to help out. They haven't been revealed yet. No scan yet on the side of Clem, but there's a lot of firepower in these Marauders, in these Ghosts. DT's trying to do whatever they can. One of them got EMP. The other one's still going strong. Gets picked off 2-1 Nova. Gets a little connection, but good pickup by Clem.
Super good pick off. This is so tight, but I think Clem's just edging out ahead. Every time there's no disruptor shots left, you can see that lack of armor really punishing, and that is a chunky army of ghosts here. Warping is done, battery overcharge, everything that MaxPax has. He's trying to fend this off, but Clem just picks up and gets to this juicy base. Again, Clem on point.
Really nice pickoff, and the fact that Clem has a planetary fortress, it just feels like that's an indestructible fortress at this point. All that MaxPax has left are a couple of Zealots and DTs, and that's not going to do it. For a split second, it looked like MaxPax